What do you want to know?
All the dirty secrets. We'll get there. I gotta mic y'all up.
Yeah, there's a deal. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. I can't hear you. Yeah.
But
So Bubba, you've been doing the race directing, handling stage, for a long time. But you just mentioned, you making calls and people being upset with you. What about when you're driving days and you were upset with calls made your way?
Oh man, I can't tell you how many racetracks I said I'm never coming back here again. Yeah.
Till next week.
Till next weekend. Yeah. There was a few times that I thought I got screwed, and I managed to let them know what I thought. Bill Helsher one time. I worked for Bill for like a couple of years as the track race director out at Green Valley. And Bill's favorite thing to do was you'd make 3 runs in qualifying bracket racing and dial the car in, and he would change the clocks. You know what I'm talking about. All of a sudden your car was 1,500 faster or 1,500 slower. He never did the same thing. And I used to go to him, I said, Bill, why do you do that? Why don't you leave us alone? Let us run the deal. He said, well, I'm just seeing how good y'all really are. I said, that's not fair. There's no way to know. It's not a fair deal. Anyway, Edmund Richardson figured it out. He won every race, but I damn sure never figured it out. And I expressed my distrust with Bill on that. And after I went to work for him, he showed me how he did it. And I actually took the chips and hit them from him where he couldn't do it. For a couple of races, he really got mad about that. But people get mad.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot of different deals.
Well,
I try to see it from a racer's point of view lots of times, which is bad. That's the hard thing when you've been a racer, and then you go into the track management end of the deal. It's real hard to separate and turn into a track manager. It took me a long time to do that. And I finally got it figured out is you just don't listen to the racers. You just do what's right and let them argue. Really just argue.
oh yeah,
And sometimes they got a legit argument. They do, I'll fix it, and that's part of it.
And I've seen this over the years going all the way back, All-American Funny Car Series,
First grade?
NHRA.
First grade.
First grade. People, they come to the race and they think that it's all about them to start with.
Yeah.
It's strictly all about them and their car, and everything else revolves around that. When in reality is, you've got to have a Bubba or somebody there that trying to ride herd over it, and that's one of the most thankless jobs in the world.
Oh yeah.
Is listen to all these prima donna crybaby racers. It is.
It is. And I was one of them.
Oh yeah. I'll hold my hand up on that. But I know because I've kind of been on both sides of it. Whenever back in the All-American days of trying to help run that deal, especially toward the later years, and golly,
it's a thankless job, but it's a job that has to be done. If you don't get it done, you do the, and nothing against Galen, but you don't do the XRP deal, and they're 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean that, Galen. I'm sorry. Let me in again, please.
I remember.
And Kennedale used to be the worst, by the way.
Oh yeah. If you didn't want to see the sun come up, you could probably see it go down and come up there pretty easily.
Real easy.
Yeah. In the early days of the All-American Funny Car Series, we had a rule that at each race, each team
right.
had.
I remember that. I don't know what you're going to say.
Each team had to provide a steward.
Yeah.
To help make calls. There wasn't any we didn't have a Bubba, you know. I mean, so you kind of had to.
I didn't know you had that on my back. I gotta get whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we were at a race, and I didn't have a car there. We were in Wichita, Kansas, and I was with James Brown and Ray Russell. In their car, I rode up there with them, and we were friends. We shared the shop and all that. Well, we get
There's some
up there,
stories.
and I'm the steward, and their clocks, the beams, I think were set. You'll know this. They were set high.
Okay. So
You
the
know,
front end would click them.
And the front end could click them.
Yeah.
And we knew that, and they couldn't fix them. And so I went to everybody and told them, hey, listen, you got to make sure and have your crew guy make sure that the car is rolled completely up
Yeah.
and staged.
Right.
Okay, so we start running, and then, hell, I don't know who, Harold Llewellyn was running. He might have been running Brown. But anyway, he come up there and he immediately goes red. When the light comes on, he goes red. And
Harold mad.
oh, he was mad, golly, and I understand. You know, he had a really good running car, and he was mad. Well, I might have known you came here with him. You know what you were going to do.
Had to throw that in
And
there.
we also had a rule: no reruns. We're not doing any reruns. You know what I mean?
We've got an
Anyway,
unwritten.
that was an ugly deal.
We've got an unwritten rule that nobody. I mean, we don't rerun nothing.
Yeah. Well, we had
never.
that too. And anyway, I was
Now you brought up
On
some,
your
you brought
side.
up some names. I mean, there's some stories there. How about a James Brown story? Let's hear the story about that we talked about earlier today of you coming to work on your funny car in the shop.
Oh, well, actually, at that time, I was a pharmacist, and the store in which I worked, from where we had a shop over close to Beach and Belknap in Fort Worth, it was only about a block from where I worked. So just about every day when I'd get off, and I work nights, so every morning.
Got robbed a couple of times. Need to hear that story. Too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I usually go to the shop, see what was going on, and most of the time I'd stop in. Well, James, we shared a shop. He and Ray Russell, we shared a shop there. James would partake in a party, you know what I mean? So they were partying up pretty good that night when I was on the way to work. So I go work at
Get down, renowned James Brown.
Hometown Get Down James Brown. I go to work, and I'm working 12-hour shifts. Okay, so I come back at 8 o'clock the next morning. Went at 8, and I come back at 8 o'clock the next morning, and of course everybody's gone, but Brown's car's still there. And we had an office there at the front, a couple of rooms in that office, and then you walked out into the shop. And I walked out into the shop, and it was dark out there, you know, because the lights weren't on and off. But I hear some sound in the back, and their car was in the back of the shop, and ours was in the front of the shop, just the way it was. And so I go back there and get to looking around. I hear this damn snoring noise, and here's Brown out on the floor in his birthday suit.
Been there all night.
and it was in the summertime, and I can't tell you how bad the mosquitoes were sometimes up there. I can't believe he didn't need a blood transfusion or have malaria or whatever.
This kept the mosquitoes away.
Probably, yeah. They got drunk and fell off if they bit him, and so I went down to Ray Russell's. And I said, "Why don't you come over? You got to see your boy up here." And he was about a couple of miles away, his automotive shop, and I went down there. And he comes up there, and he's still back there.
Still out.
Totally out. You know? I don't know how long that had been going on, but
that alcohol funny car circuit was quite a group of
Oh yeah. We had-
I mean, they had fun everywhere they went. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
between the Bad Moon Rising guys and the
Frank Cook.
Frank Cook and God Almighty, you know,
Yeah,
just
Mickey,
I mean,
Mickey Winters and those
oh,
guys.
Mickey Winters,
Yeah, I mean,
all good guys and just
yeah,
know.
but I mean, everybody was a lot younger then, and things were.
well,
I would
your
say
your liver was still healthy and you could drink a lot more. And,
I guess, yeah. Yeah, apparently, you know.
well,
I tell you, I'm sure I told you the story last time I saw you, but I know you don't remember it.
this is going to be a bad story. I didn't do it. I promise. Whatever it is.
No, it was.
Is it when you helped me into the trailer? Is that that's what you're going to tell? Because I got one on you too.
No, I hadn't got to that point yet. I was bracket racing. I mean, you're talking about. I had that Anglia.
I had that Anglia.
Yeah, you had the Anglia after I did, and that's another good story.
Oh, you're going to tell about my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to tell that one, but go ahead.
That's another good story. But anyway,
I forgot about that.
I had this bracket Anglia, the one that Bubba referred to earlier, going to Penwell, and the only bracket race I
It
ever
was one of
won.
James Brown's old Anglias.
Yeah.
The same James Brown that was naked, laying on the floor. Same guy.
I had, anyway, I had this Anglia, and I'd put a big block Chevrolet in it with a tone ram and all that stuff, you know. And everything, there was a paper, a local paper, and it was called the Fort Worth Shopper. Well, it came out on Sunday, but Bubba and I could go to the newsstand in Cleveland, and they delivered it early, and we would get that thing and go through it looking for parts.
And we'd call
And
everyone,
that-
all of them at midnight. We'd call these people at midnight.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm bracket racing. I'm happy as can be, and we're at Green Valley running, and James Brown's out there, and they had this Texas Pro Anglia circuit. It was injected nitro cars, Anglias,
Anglias.
and
And there'd be like 10 or 15 of them show up at a race.
yeah, but this was when it was winding down, and so they needed another car to go to a match race in San Antonio at the old Alamo track. So they come over there and talk to me. Of course, I'd watched Brown and knew who he was and whatnot. And, you making any money doing this bracket racing? Well,
No.
no. I mean, what kind of question is that? They said, well, how would you like to go? We can go to San Antonio. I mean, this is in probably 1975 or so.
75, yeah.
74 or 5, maybe 74,
Yeah.
you know, somewhere around there.
Long
I
time
said,
ago.
we go to San Antonio down there, and said, you make 3 runs, I think it was, and doesn't make any difference, you win or lose, and get $300. Well, that was a lot of money back then, you know, and, or at least I thought it was, compared to what I'd been making. So, said, but you need to take that tunnel ram off and put injectors on this car. And I had a set of injectors, but I didn't even know which way you turn them. Or
And
what.
you sold those to me too. I had those
I
too.
did, yeah. I passed those along. Anyway, I had this set of injectors, and said, well, bring it over to Ray Russell's shop, and he'll help you. So anyway, I took it over there. I mean, all I did was take the tunnel ram off and put these injectors on, and they put 30% nitro in it. I didn't know any better, you know. But in the process of all this, we're going to our first really big gig, you know. So, I mean, I go back and, I mean, I don't know how many people remember when they did splatter paint on the cars, on paint jobs, that splatter
I
paint.
had one.
Yeah.
Eddie Siegman's deal, remember that?
Yeah, anyway, so I go to this friend of mine, he just mentioned Eddie Sigmund had a body shop, and we sand that car down and we repaint it and we work on it, because we're going to the big show. And
San
in the
Antonio.
meantime, said, oh yeah, by the way, Brown says, you're going to have a fire suit. You got a fire suit? No, I don't have a fire suit. He said, well, why don't you go over to Gene Snow's he had a car, this before he got in the oil business, he had a car lot over on Henderson Street. You bought yours?
I bought my
Chevelle
Chevelle. You
there.
were with me that night.
I was. So why don't you go over to Snow's? He might have something that would fit you, you know. So I go in there and ask Snow, and you know, Snow can be a little sarcastic. You know? He said, "Well, yeah, I might have one here. You're kind of a fat boy, you know." So, yeah, I mean, so anyway, he gets his fire suit, and it had a little bit of grease or whatever on it. So I take it to the cleaners, and we're working on this car, trying to get ready. We're just getting ready to leave town. I stopped by the cleaners to get my fire suit. And I tell them, it was a drive-up deal, and I tell them, you know, I said, well, can you come in for a minute?
Oh,
We need to talk to you. So I go in there, and they bring this fire suit out, and whatever kind of, number one, I don't know what kind of fire suit it was, but it had one layer in there that whatever cleaning solution they used on it made it like a mannequin. It would stand up by itself. It was stiff as a damn board, you know. So I mean, I'm in a panic now. I'm in a total panic. I mean, here we're going to my
going to the big show.
my first big gig, and my fire suit. It's sitting in the back seat, standing up in the back seat all the way down there. So we get down there, and plus part of the deal is we get free rooms at La Quinta on Military Parkway. That was, you know, you get free rooms, and so we go up there, and at that time it was James Brown, Warren Pelton had a car called Gold Digger, which is the flip top Anglia that Clayton Poole has now.
The black one, yeah.
Yeah, that black one. And B.L. Mills that had James's first flip top. Everybody had a funny car style, fiberglass body, but me. And anyway, I go up there and I start telling them my woes, and I said, well, bring it in here. Well, number one, we get up there and they're all sitting around drinking beer. I mean, we're fixing to go to the racetrack.
But they're
all up there sitting around drinking beer, and I thought, what? Well, bring it in here, let us look at it. So I get in there and said, well, I could get the jacket on, barely, but the pants, there was just no way. And they said, well, bring it in here. Well, let's see which layer it is. So somebody gets their pocket knife out and they start.
Gene Snow's fire suit.
Yeah, well, I bought it. And they start taking layers out, trying to get to the one that was so stiff, and it was the one right next to the outside layer of the Nomex. And they cut all that out, and I could get the pants on them, but now you got a one-layer Nomex.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it looked like a loose pair of leotards on me. I mean, it would flap in the wind, and I wore that all year and made it through the race. But I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
The fire suit. I was sweating bullets on what am I going to do? Here I am.
As if somebody was even going to look. You could have worn Bermuda shorts.
Oh, I know. You know, and then, I mean, hell, you couldn't see anything. You wore that old mask deal back then and all that.
I never got to wear one of those masks.
You didn't miss anything, I'll tell you. You would have missed a lot if you did wear one. You can't see anything out of them hardly.
Well.
So in the drag racing scene, everybody's like East Coast, West Coast, but the Texas drag racing scene was its own scene in its own right, and it seemed like it was hopping at one point in time, and some great drag racers have come out of Texas. So the drag racing scene in Texas, what was it like in the Wild West days, if you will?
Well, one thing we had, the thing that really turned everything on down here is when they built Dallas International Motor Speedway, which was so far ahead of its time. It was incredible because nobody had ever seen a drag strip like this one, and really they haven't seen one since. I mean, it's as good as anything that's been built since, you know. And it's just incredible how good it was, and I got to be in part of that. As far as I was young, I was still just out of high school, and my dad worked for the Santa Fe Railroad when I was a kid, and he was an engineer. Well, an engineer, you work so many hours, then you got a couple of days off. so many hours, a couple of days off. So nearly everybody that worked for a railroad that had a union job had an outside job because you had 2 days off. Well, my dad had a sporting goods store that we opened there in Cleveland, and I ran that. And make it real short, the guy next door to me was the Johnson County News, which was a little newspaper that's not around anymore, but it was kind of popular at the time. Well, I go in there to him and said, you know, there's this new drag strip over in Louisville. Can I get press deals? I had no idea. He said, well, sure you can. So he writes me a letter. I go over there, and hell, I'm a 18-year-old press guy. All of a sudden, it's the biggest drag strip in the world. I can go in, I get this guy, I can walk out on the starting line. Yeah, I can do what I want to do. Incredible. So I had a real good time. It was really funny, and I've got movies, 8mm movies of like so many cars: the Mickey Thompson blue Mustang, the red Mustang, the Pinella truck in Anglia with a small block Chevrolet with a 4-speed in it.
Yeah.
Ran a gas supercharged with a 4-speed, and all the Mancini, John Hagen, all the factory car, Sox and Martin, all of them. I got movies of all of them, and they're not very good movies because I was like, you know, how the old movies, how you're taking pictures and you're going back and forth, and I couldn't take all of them, you know, because there were so damn many of them. And but Dallas International Motor Speedway made the South as far as drag racing. It didn't last long, but the few years it was there, it was the premier place in the world for drag racing. I mean, it was incredible, and it had a huge road course, and just it was just so far ahead of its time. It couldn't make it, couldn't get enough sponsorship. It was too expensive. So that was my early time, and of course, the real early time is when it was Jimmy and I. They were having the July the 4th World Finals at Green Valley, the AHRA World Finals in like 60 or 61.
Yeah.
You know, this is a while ago now. And so we talked my dad into taking us up there, and he parked us somewhere or another. We got right up to the fence, right up next to the track, pretty close. I mean, not real close, but where you could see all the cars go by. And we went to Green Valley, did that, and saw all of the cars that are in my mind, and Scoot and Cuda. Remember that Barracuda? It was called Scoot and Cuda, and it would leave the start line and leave one wheel up in the air, real high. It's called Scoot and Cuda, and those kind of guys. AHRA and NHRA were totally, completely different cars. You never saw the same car.
Well, I think that was during the nitro ban in NHRA, wasn't it?
Yeah, NHRA was like 63. They brought nitro back, or 64. But yeah, it was.
That was the first time I'd ever seen a nitro car run.
At Green Valley.
At Green Valley.
Art Malone was there, and won the fuel category. Gartley was there. The Ram Chargers, all the fuel altered guys that were there, they were there in protest. They ran AHRA because NHRA wouldn't let them run nitro, so they came over and run AHRA. And Art Malone won the race. And a little subtitle of that, I got to meet Art later in my career when I worked for Billy Meyer. We did a race in Bradenton, Florida, where they're having those races now. Well, I went down there, and Billy Meyer ran an IHRA. He bought an IHRA, and I was the operations director for IHRA for Billy. And Billy sent me to Bradenton to get the track ready. Well, I get down there, and Art Malone owns it. Well, he's got a trailer house there. And I get there to the track, I got my rent car, and I roll in like I'm a big dog, you know, coming in. I'm representing IHRA, and I go in, and I knock on the door, and he, get in here. I go in, and he's sitting at the table, and he's got like 3 or 4, I don't even remember how many bottles of Jack Daniels sitting on the table. Some of them are empty, some of them are full. And he's sit down, we need to talk. So I sit down, and he's this big guy, this scary guy. He scared me. I was still young. He scared the hell out of me when I first met him. Turns out he was okay, but he said, "You want a drink?" I go, "Yeah, I'll take a drink." He pours me a glass a big glass of Jack Daniels and nothing else. So I go, oh, "Okay." And I start sipping on it, and he would get up. I stayed there. He put me up. He gave me a room. at the deal, set me up, and every morning I would get up, like at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, get up, and he would already be drinking. He drank from daylight till dark, never got drunk, never saw him drunk. And we're about done. I'd been down there for 7 or 8 days getting shit ready and doing things. And he says, okay, we got to drain this water tank over here. We got to use it for parking. We're going to need parking. And the place next to him, there was this tank full of water. He said, we got to work on that. And I go, okay, what do you want me to do? He says, well, let's go over there. So he gets this pump and loads it in his pickup. And we ride over to this tank. And he says, we got to get this nozzle out in the middle where we can drain it all the way, where we can drain it. I said, okay, what do you want me to do? Wait a minute, got technical malfunction here. And he says, well, just take this pump and this hose and go out in the middle of the tank and put it down. It's not over 8 or 10 feet deep. You can kind of swim out there and let it down, and we'll drain the tank. We're in Florida. It's 90 degrees, so it wasn't a big deal. So I get it over there and I'm coming out, and he goes, you better hurry. And I go, why? He said, well, that alligator's right behind your ass. I looked and there was a freaking alligator. He had sent me in this damn tank, but he knew there was an alligator in there and sent me in on this damn tank. And I go, Jesus, God damn, Art. You could have killed me. He said, oh no. I said, I feed him every day. He's not going to bite you. He's my people.
Yeah, but he feeds some NHRA people. Maybe that's what he's feeding them.
So anyway, we put a race on down. We had a good race down there. It rained it out, and we had to have it the next weekend. But it turned out to be a good race. And Art and I stayed friends till he died. I used to talk to him occasionally, and really one of the old time. I mean, he was like one of these types that he's like Connie Coletta. He was one of these types that if you crossed him, you're going to pick yourself up off the ground. I mean, he's going to deck your ass, you know. And he was Gartlett's best friend. Him and Gartlett's were best friends. They won the Indy 2 years in a row as partners in like the early 80s. And that's my story about Art Malone. Nobody knows Art Malone.
Well, he understood one thing I can tell from your story is that you can't drink all day if you don't start early in the morning.
That's right. He started every morning.
You got to start early.
We'll put it back on.
Yeah, I'll get you. Hang on, Chris. Technical difficulties.
Is Chris on there?
He will be.
Fuck you, Chris.
Oh.
Just so you understand.
How's that? That's my Art Malone story. I could really talk like for several hours on Art Malone. He had a blower to blow the track off. And it was this huge fan. You know, like you've seen these deals like they go across in Louisiana, these big boats with the fans.
Airboats.
He had but it was mounted on a trailer and had like a 468-inch big block Chevrolet with a tunnel ram and all this crap. And that thing would literally blow your ass down. It was blowing it. That was the first blower I'd ever come across that was like something you really needed a drag strip to get rid of when you have it all down, to get rid of all the rice hull. He had it because this thing would blow like 800 miles an hour. So I don't know what it did. It was unbelievable. You could not stand up behind it. Yeah. He loved that blower. He used to bring it out. We'd have a downtime, and I'd see him. He'd come out. He'd have that blower going out. And I go, Art, what are you doing? Well, I'm cleaning the track. We're down. I'm gonna clean the track.
Show off a blower.
But Art and I got along good. He was a good guy. One of my heroes.
Yeah.
And I don't have many heroes because I'm older than most of them.
Yeah.
When I started running at Kennedale, and then Jimmy can talk. I kind of butted in on Jimmy. I'm sorry. The first pass. Or not the first pass, but the first time I went to Kennedale, there was a little track in Fort Worth it was Forest Hills, which was about a stone throw. It was probably a mile from Kennedale, but you had to wind around. It was 2 or 3 miles to get over there.
As the crow flies, it was
close.
Yeah.
And we used to go there, and we thought that was the nuts, but horrible little racetrack.
We didn't know.
It was downhill and had a tree at the bottom with a creek, and it was horrible, but it was all we had. We ran there, and then we heard, Kennedale, they opened a new track at Kennedale. The first time I went over, and I don't think you were with me, I went over there and I didn't run because all I had was my 48 Jeepster.
Yeah.
That's another story. I don't know if you got time for the 48 Jeepster or not, but
it was a winner.
but the first time I went to Kennedale, it was paved for like a third of a mile or maybe 500 feet. Then the rest of it was gravel. It wasn't even paved all the way. But we didn't have enough power. It didn't make any difference. You know, I mean, you couldn't. I mean, it was not like loose gravel. It was packed, but it was gravel because they had to open it by a certain time, and the time had come up, and they didn't have it completely paved. 2 weeks later, it was paved, but just for a short period of time in there. And I never ran on it when it was not paved, but it was part asphalt and part gravel. You don't even remember that.
No, I didn't ever go there at that time. You know, I didn't.
And then the same Anglia that we were talking about earlier, Jimmy Dale bracket raced it at Kennedale. Kennedale used to be a quarter mile when you did that.
Yeah, I did.
I'll let you take that little story over because that's quite a story. It should have crashed, but it didn't.
Yeah, I got cheated out of a bad wreck on that, but
It was, yeah, I wouldn't call it
I mean,
cheating.
they didn't have any miles per hour clock at Kennedale,
But
but
you
if we go
ran-
to Green Valley, it would run 140 plus.
Yeah,
which-
you ran 980s, 990s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I mean, it was a fast Anglia first time, yeah.
yeah. I mean, partly it's because it was very light. It had
You
five
didn't have
or
any
six
front
deck legs.
brakes, number one, which fits in on this deal.
Yeah.
No front brakes.
No front brakes. It had a tailpipe roll cage in it.
Kinda.
Yeah.
It was kind of a cage, kind of
that
not.
that was the closest, but it literally was out of muffler shop tailpipe, and it was a center. It was a center steer, and the fact that you sat in the middle.
But it wasn't center steer.
Well, no, and it had a carburetor steering box on it that came up the left side of the frame, and it came through the firewall, and then it came at an angle, and it had a Craftsman wobble joint welded in there to
That's
make
true.
the turn.
That is true. That is true.
And it had a
I got
Craftsman,
pictures of it somewhere.
had a Craftsman wobble joint, and you said,
When you turn it and go over center, it just kind of flopped because the wobble joint wouldn't move. Remember that?
So anyway, we're at Kennedale running this thing, and it's a quarter mile, and that track was not
And Letha and I were there spectating.
really long enough. And I ran this. Mike Keith had a '63 red Chevrolet that ran pretty good.
Same Mike Keith had the Hemi too. Had the Hemi white Hemi car, the feet Keith. Remember
No,
how
he
the
lives
one
in Crowley.
said "Weenie Weenie Weezy" on the back of it.
I don't know.
I bet it's the same Keith. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I ran him, and it's one of these things that I think it was off his bracket deal off the spot or whatever, and I was trying to catch him, but I was going quite a bit faster than he was when we got to the finish line, and I had a chute lever in the floor that you pull. It was really a choke cable.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was a choke cable, that you pull, and had this parachute on the back.
We're talking about late '60s, early '70s, or mid '70s.
Yeah, probably.
A while ago.
Early to mid. Anyway, I go across the finish line down there, and I pull this
Choke cable.
I pull it because I probably trying to catch him. I drove it past the finish line probably, and there wasn't room to do that there, and it wasn't slowing down much. And like Bubba said, all it had was drum 57 Pontiac rear brakes on it, and I'm trying to get this thing slow. And that track went down, and it had kind of a bank curve down there, pretty sharp. And this thing's not slowing down. I thought and on the other side of that bank It was
a
all
creek.
solid trees.
And a creek down in there.
Yeah. And I thought, this ain't gonna work. And finally, not far before I got to that turn, the chute blossomed. I already had that cable strung out to the seat.
But here's the whole deal. The radiator on that car was in the trunk. And the parachute was mounted right above it. Well, every time you made a run, you watered the radiator down to cool it off. Well, all that moisture, and he hadn't pulled the chute at any of the other deals, well, it filled the chute up with moisture, so it couldn't open hardly.
Yeah, it was, and it had come out, and I talked to Mike Keith, the guy I was racing at that time. He said, yeah, you came by me going probably 20, 25 miles an hour faster than I was, and said that parachute was just dragging on the ground. And he said, I thought, this is not going to end well. You
But it
know,
did.
that's what.
But it did.
And he said, finally, kind of at the last minute, it blossomed, and I went around that corner faster than that I would have ever thought was
He
possible.
came back, and Leith and I walked over there, and he's out of the car, and he's looking at that parachute, and I could tell he's mad. He goes, give me a fucking beer. He drank like 3 or 4 beers. He said, okay, I'm ready for next round. I'm ready.
No, I already got beat on that one.
But I mean, he had to have a beer right
Yeah.
now.
I need
Oh,
some
goodness.
sedation.
Those Kennedale days and Forest Hill days, and gosh, and that was some incredible times. We were regulars up there to watch, you know.
Oh yeah, it was fun time. And we'd go up there in the winter time because they ran about year round.
Oh yeah,
And it would be so cold, and they'd have these barrels out there
full of
with
oh.
wood and stuff in them, and you'd trying to stay warm.
It was so cold. You'd just be freezing, you know. But if somebody wanted to run, like I'll never forget one of my favorite cars. There was a couple of them back in those days. It was Bill Holman in that what was the name of that Camaro? I mean that Chevelle. The exhibition, not exhibitionist, but that something or another.
I remember Holman, big burly guy.
Yeah, and then the Scootin' Cooler. I mean the Scootin' Newton. Scootin' Newton with the 375 horse Chevelle. And
Yeah, and Larry Croft drove
Larry
it.
Croft.
Larry Croft.
Yeah. Scootin' Newton. And McElroy, the 409.
Yeah, a bubble top 62.
Yeah, which is still around, by the way.
Yeah.
Nobody's been able to talk him out of it.
Yeah.
That was our old days. You know,
And
they
the
were-
Anderson brothers had a little red Anglia that was pristine. It was a steel Anglia. And they had 2 or 3 different motor companies, but they used to have a 4-speed in it. And they ran classes up there at the time, early on.
Yep.
They ran class, and so they were always in like a gas class.
A
of
or
course.
B gas or
You
whatever.
know, and usually nobody else was in it hardly. And I can remember stuck in my mind of him leaving the start line and picking the wheels up. And just about the time it would start to set them down, he would sharp shift it
Yeah.
and pick them up again, and he'd go all the way to 4th gear before
Yeah.
sharp
I
shifting
learned
before it
later in years, those guys had a clutch slide in. They took the 4-speed out and put the clutch slide in
Right.
when it got stolen and disappeared or whatever.
Yeah,
It had a clutch slide in.
yeah.
But I don't know. What else you want to know about?
Well, one thing I know is I've told a lot of people over time, I said a lot of times getting to and from the race is more exciting than the race.
Oh yeah.
It's more,
Oh, yeah.
it's more exciting than the race.
Oh goodness.
We had a match race this past year in Prescott, Arkansas.
Just this past year?
Yeah, in Prescott.
Oh, I know what you're going to tell now. I forgot
And-
that.
We're standing around there, and some guy that I didn't know comes by, and we had the Texas trimmer deal on the altered, and he said, I went to a race over at Monroe, Louisiana, and there was a couple of funny cars over there, and one of those had that same name on it. I said, yeah, that was
There's
us.
only one.
Yeah, that was us. And he said, as I recall, they got hung up getting here on the railroad track. He said, yeah, that was definitely us. Anyway, Paul Kelly, my longtime partner and great friend, he had an 18. He had a cab over Kenworth with the little windows up in the top, whatever they call it, and had I don't know, it was about a 50-foot trailer, and it was a lowboy deal. Anyway, we were match racing the Stidham brothers out of Chickasha, and we had done a display at a Walmart or something before that was part of the deal, and we got ready to go out to the racetrack, and I got with Jackie Stidham into his tow vehicle and rode out there with them. Well, they left. But anyway, somebody had told us, well, you can go this way and get there, but you don't need to go that way. Well, I rigged went the wrong way. So there's this pretty busy farm to market road running down parallel with a railroad track. And got out there and the road that you needed to turn off on was across the railroad track, and it had a pretty high embankment. So Paul tries to go across this railroad track and high centers this trailer. I mean, it had a side door in it about where your normal side door would be, and some lady came by the track down there and said, one of y'all's rigs is hung on a railroad track down here. I said, oh, I knew. Because his rig was already there.
Stidham was there.
I knew. So anyway, Jackie and I get in and we go down there, and sure enough, all 8 tires, both axles are this far off the ground in the back. And this thing is hung, and I thought, and Paul was trying to get it to come. I thought he was going to throw the drive shaft out of this old Kenworth, trying to pull it off, and it wouldn't even budge. And that railroad track, if you open the side door, it was however the thicker the frame was, that's how far it was to the railroad track. And it was out in the country on a long sweeping turn out there, and we're sitting there evaluating the thing, and somebody stops by, a local stops by and said, they're big-eyed. You got to get this trailer off here. Said, there's a train comes through here about every hour or less. There's a train comes through here. And I could see just from his dad being an engineer here and talking about it, this long sweeping curve, they wouldn't even be able to see this trailer until they're already around that curve some and never get one stopped. Never get one stopped. I thought we're not going to get killed, but I don't know what it is.
Here and watch your funny car get destroyed.
Well, you watch the trailer and it's going to run right through the side of this thing. It was going to be right through the side.
You could open the door and let them right in.
Yeah. And I'm standing there and I see this Mack truck coming down the road they just turned off of, the farm to market road. And it was a logging truck, and he had the rear wheels and all. It didn't have any logs and had it boomed up on the back. I start yelling at this guy and whatnot, and finally, he sees us, and he finally gets down the road probably a couple hundred yards and gets it stopped, and he backs up, and I said, man, we need some help. Of course, we didn't have we had a tow strap for the car, Fortunately, this is the good Lord looking after you, This guy being a logger, he had a chain that the links are as big around as your thumb. Way big industrial strength, okay? And he hooks he pulls up behind the trailer. They hook onto the underside of that trailer, and he backs up in reverse in this old Mack truck. And he kind of lets the clutch out, and that old truck just squats down, about to die, and didn't move an inch. I thought, oh my God, we can't pull us off. We are done. There's going to be a train coming through here in a minute. And finally, he was smart enough that he pulled forward, maybe a foot, and put a little bit of sway into the chain, and kind of gave it a jerk, and it moved about 6 inches. He did that a couple of times and finally pulled us off there. But
So the Texas trimmer survived.
It survived over there, but I want to tell you what, you talking about some tense moments, you know. That was one of the worst that I can ever remember on going to and from a race, you know. I mean, there's been some others, but that one is really at the pinnacle of it.
Yeah, because you could lose everything. You were going to lose everything
yeah,
you owned.
plus, you know, I mean, hell, you know, I mean, an engineer and everything else, who's it going to hurt or
No,
whatever?
you weren't going to hurt the train. No, you can take that out of your mind. You weren't going to hurt that guy. That thing was going to go right through that door.
Well, at any rate.
Yeah. We did the pro stock deal in 81 or 82, I guess. Anyway, we had the first Pontiac. The guy that started the deal, Mike Kilpatrick, had a Pontiac dealership in Killeen, and he talked Pontiac out of all the new body panels for the new Pontiac. And we had the body panels, so we got the first car. Ness built us a car. And our first race, after we finally got everything together and got it running with everything done right, and we go to the Mile High Nationals. We decided to go there because there was not many cars went up there. So we thought, well, we'll go up there and maybe qualify, you know. Nobody's got power up there. So we'll fit in. And we get up there, and we qualified. We ran good, qualified. But the funniest story about the whole deal was we were pitted next to Joe Lapone. And back then, the Mile High Nationals at Denver were on the low side. All the cars were down below instead of now they're up above it. Back then we were on the bottom side down there. And it had like layers. You went and down and it's flat and down, and we were parked and we were loading the car up. We were done for the day and we were loading the car up. And Tony Shalino was my crew chief, and Tony always took a big bottle of Jack Daniels, but you couldn't have a drink till everything was done, the car was loaded, then everybody could have a drink. That was their rules. And so I'm holding the car, and we're pushing it in after we're qualified, and we get it all in, and Jenkins comes wandering over with his cup. I never met Jenkins, and so until then, we introduced ourselves and we talked for a little while. And we get everything done, and then Tony gets the bottle out, and he goes, well, hell, I'll have some of that. And Tony pours him a drink. He goes, when can we get a drink over here? And I said, well, as soon as we get everything loaded every night, we have a drink. Oh, okay. So we talk a little longer, and the next night, we're all over there, and I'm back in the back of the car, and we're getting ready to shove it in to get it up to the hookup. And I look over, and there's Jenkins next to me pushing, and he's got his Coke sitting there. He goes, when do we get our drink? And I go, as soon as we get everything loaded. So every night, we had 3 nights there, and I had Bill Jenkins loading the car where he could get a drink from it. But we got to be pretty good friends with Bill Jenkins, and turned out he wasn't a bad guy. He was just so overwhelmed with people talking to him that he turned into a grouch, you know, which I can understand. I mean, everybody wanted to know everything he did and everything, and some of it he brought it on. I mean, you know, it was part of a persona, you know. But
part of the mystique.
But that was fun. We ran Jenkins there. We ran Jenkins at Moroso's. We went down to the winter meet and ran Joe Lapone down there. Leith and I, we ran Bradenton the week before. Then all the guys went home. We had 2 guys went home.
Both of them.
Both of them. And Leith and I drove the truck and trailer to Palm Beach. You know, all of us. You know, Leith and I were the crew. We drove to Palm Beach and parked the car and everything, and went sightseeing. And then when we started the race, we unloaded the car, and it was like on Friday night. We unloaded the car, and I'd had the heads off, and I did a bunch of stuff to it, and got it all ready to run, and loaded it back in the trailer, and had a beer. And we're sitting there, and Dick Moroso was a big sponsor of ours. Dick really took care of us, and Rear Marson, and we got everything. Anything Moroso made, we could get, you know, type of deal. We didn't get money, but we got anything else that Dick
well,
did.
that's money at the end of the
And
day.
here comes Dick down, and he's in a panic. He says, "Why you got your car loaded? Y'all need to run." I go, "Well, there's nobody here. We're running tomorrow. We're not supposed to run till tomorrow." He said, "I'll pay you $1,000 to make a pass." I said, "Well, you know what? I think I can get the car out." I'd already had a beer. I had a beer and everything. I said, "I already had a beer." He said, don't worry about it. Get something to eat. You'll be fine." Yeah. And so we get it unloaded. So I said, "Who are we running?" He said, "You're running Joe Lapone." And they did Joe the same way. They went to Joe and said, "You're $1,000, you know." So we get together and Joe says, "Make a long burnout. Let's just make it a nice, match race deal." But the real deal about the whole deal, I forgot about that. I told Dick, I said, "I'll only run if it's a qualifying pass." He said, "Okay, you can qualify for tomorrow's race." Warren Johnson was there, and they were all there. We were the only ones going to get a qualifying pass at night in the good air.
Yeah.
So we took it, and we ran I remember, I'll never forget, we ran an 89, 789, I think it was, 789 or 789, yeah. And it was Letha night. And we did the burnout, and Letha was in front, backing the car up and did everything, the crew chief deal and everything. And we ran our fastest pass of the week was with Letha. And when Tony Shalino and the other guys got there, boy, Letha gave me.
I bet she did.
We're number one qualifier. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, where y'all been? Yeah.
That was a pretty neat story, but the Warren Johnson ran on those deals, and he usually won all of them. Warren helped me more, other than Rear Morrison. Warren Johnson helped me more with Pro Stock. Everybody says, he's such an asshole and all this, but Warren he would never tell you, like, do this, do that. He would say, "Well, I tried that a couple of weeks ago and that doesn't work."
Yeah.
Like, you can do it if you want to, but you're going to fuck up.
Yeah. You're wasting your time on this.
Yeah, and Warren was real, like at Bradenton, we were in the finals with Warren. We were the second fastest car. Warren had us by, 1,500, a bunch. He had us covered, I red lit in the final, and he still outran me. That's how bad he had me covered. And before the finals, I told Tony, I said, "We can't beat him. Let's try something different." So he said, "Well, let's put another gear." So we upped the gear and changed the rear end, changed the transmission. And I'm laying under it in Bradenton. If you've never been there, the fire ant shit is, they're everywhere. And I'm laying under there changing the rear end and trying to get everything. And I look up and Warren's looking under the car at me. He goes, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" I go, "Trying to get this thing where I might give you a race." He goes, "Okay, just whenever you get ready, call me. I won't go to the staging lanes." He said, "They're already hollering." He said, "I'm not going till you're ready." And I thought, well, that's pretty cool,
Yeah. So you haven't had him, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I told you. I just told you I red lit. He passed me at like 1,000 feet and waving at me as he went by. That was in that little Forenza. Remember that little bitty Forenza?
Yeah.
Had a 3-link, and when it'd leave the start line, it'd twist up all crazy. But man, would that thing fly.
Yes, yeah.
How we doing?
You're doing great. You're doing great. Jimmy, how did it go from spectator to driver? How did that happen in transition in life?
That's a good question.
Well, I guess let me think back on that.
That's a long time ago, Jimmy Dale.
I did my share of street racing and this, that, and other,
You had a bad 57 Chevrolet.
Yeah. And so, the hook was really set on me from street racing, And then it got to the point that I ended up, like Bubba said, I had a 57 Chevrolet that, for that day and time, ran pretty good,
Yeah, it did.
And ran pretty good and raced it, but I never raced it at the racetrack, And I guess, trying to think, the first car I ever had at the racetrack was...
that yellow Anglia. Remember that 6-cylinder Anglia?
I'd bought an Anglia from a guy that had a 4-speed and a 261 6-cylinder in it.
Pretty neat Anglia.
Yeah, it was. And I raced that for a little while, and
I'm trying to think. I guess
I sold it.
Rambunctious car. one of those funny cars? Was that one of your first deals, maybe?
No, I mean, then, this is back before I went off to college. Then after I got out of school, came back and started getting the Fort Worth Shopper every Saturday night, I should say.
Yeah.
And I bought this Anglia that had been one of the one with
the socket for steering.
the Craftsman socket, and it did break at Green Valley one time. Fortunately, I was on the turnaround up there, and it broke and just kind of went straight, but I wasn't going very fast. It could have been ugly if it had done it a little bit sooner. And so anyway, I got that Anglia, put it together, and did that circuit deal for a little while, and then things were kind of transitioning. Brown and those guys that I'd been running this Anglia thing with, they were transitioning to a funny car. In fact, I just saw on Facebook this week, Brown, his flip-top Anglia, he took that body off and bought a Vega body.
A 98-inch.
Stock wheelbase Vega flip-top body.
98-inch flip-top body. It's the
From
shortest
Carl-
thing you've ever seen.
From Carl Stone, Rolling Stone in Dallas, okay? And put that on there, and so they started going to some other races. So I thought, well, this Anglia deal's dried up. I need a funny car.
And so you stuck me with the damn Anglia.
Yeah. So one of, I think it's actually one that Terry Pringle had. It was a second car. Gene Snow used to always build too, and Terry would do a lot of when match racing was really, really big. This was like a 76 Charger or whatever body.
Injected, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, they ran it injected, and so anyway, I ended up getting this funny car, and Bubba mentioned they had this Marine, they had a Marine dealership there in Cleveland, and of course his dad would,
We're going to grow out of it.
He would give us both hell every opportunity he got, and we usually.
My dad's favorite saying, and I'll let him finish, and I don't say anything else. My mom used to always say, all they're talking about is these fucking cars. And my dad said, don't worry about it, Nell. They're going to grow out of it.
Yeah.
And here we are, we're 77 years old, and we haven't grown out of it yet.
We may.
We still got time.
So, his dad used to give me a lot of grief over this Anglia.
Yes, he did.
A lot of grief over it.
He used to come to a lot of the
Yeah,
races.
he'd go to a lot of the racing, but he loved needling me hard about it. So anyway, I've got this funny car that I'd been over and picked up at Clayton Pools in Weatherford, and brought it back. And of course, I stopped in at the Marine dealership there, and Bubba and Letha were there. Here comes Buddy, his dad. He comes out, and looking at this funny car, and well. What have you done now? He's just giving me a real blast. And, got this funny car, Finally got around to asking, well, what did you do with that other little piece of crap you had?
I had it.
Well, Bubba and Letha had already bought it, So I was going to, and they had not told him. And we all kind of were grinning, and nobody was saying anything, kind of wringing our hands and whatnot. And finally it dawned on him that Bubba had bought it. And he said, "She did, you better not have done that." And he was mad all over,
But he liked it before.
But he liked it before it was over, yeah. Well, he was upset.
We're going to grow out of it.
Yeah.
We're going to grow out of it. I miss him, man.
Oh, I know, I do too. He was a real hoot.
Yep.
For sure.
He was a supporter.
Yeah.
He didn't think, he played like he wasn't, but he was.
He was all in.
Yeah.
He was all in.
Yeah, well.
I don't know if you saw any of this thing changing a little bit. The baby gators are having this weekend.
Yeah.
And of course Bartone and
with injected.
and what's his name? Steele.
Mick Steele.
Mick Steele. They're there with their A fuel, and and so was Randy Meyer with his funny car. And anyway, Bartone's car set a new ET and miles per hour record both at this race.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
I saw
Mick
that.
Steele was right behind him in qualifying. He didn't, and I don't know. I didn't see the final, but I suspect he may. He was running Annie Whiteley in the final, as far as I got with it. I don't know who.
Whiteley had an alcohol car though.
But, huh?
It was Whiteley in an alcohol.
Oh yeah, she's an alcohol car. She qualified like third. You know, she ran like a 39, and they had run a 33. I mean, she was
They're
right.
actually pretty close.
Yeah, she's right there. And but what I'm getting around to is, hell, I don't know when this was. I had a funny car of some sort at this point. We went to an NHRA race at Tulsa, and I remember that dang, Gary Cooper, Aaron, they still run alcohol dragster some from Wichita, but Cooper used to run, and he was one of the original guys back in the early days of A Fuel. And he had an Aries with a dragster, but the Cavallari brothers, the twins,
Cavalier, bro.
they had a funny car, and they put his motor into this funny car and came to this NHRA race, which they had a class for it, obviously. And I remember running them in a qualifying round. And, I mean, this is back in the Roots days, and nobody was, well, I mean, there were a few guys pretty damn fast, but most of the time, you know, 650 was a pretty killer run back then, you know. And I remember I drew him in a qualifying pass in that A Fuel car. And of course, I had his time slip, his numbers on the end. He ran like a high 6 or something. You know, we didn't run much better than we went to the end. But and his 60 foot was like a 110, or I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
But then at half track, I guess it lit him or whatever, and that deal ran 200 miles an hour. Nobody ran 200 miles an hour back then with a Roots car or good. I mean, that thing ran 200, and then it dropped cylinders or whatever, and didn't run much faster than that at the finish line. But it showed me right there what the potential of those
There was a guy showed up when I worked for.
cars, the potential of what those cars have, you know.
When I worked for IHRA, I worked for Brockmeyer. I did all the IHRA national meets. There was a car showed up. They had where you could run A Fuel.
Oh, what was that guy's name?
And Sharon Williams was the.
And he blew everything out of the water on that deal.
Oh, he ran so fast it was incredible.
And they outlawed him.
Yeah.
And they outlawed
IHRA
him.
immediately the next race you
I
couldn't-
can't, you know. I
there was
don't-
the brothers. There
yeah.
was 2 of them,
Yeah,
and it was Sharon Williams.
and they were so far ahead of everybody with that
And this thing was so badass, it would make a burnout and stop out there and start idling and just popping and banging. And I go, that is badass, you know. And then the numbers would come up, and I go, well, this ain't gonna be around long. They done screwed this up.
Yeah.
They won that race. It was in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting what NHRA has done with this, but at the same time, for years, we were running alcohol funny car, and look across the fence at the dragsters, and I can remember when the dragsters were, you know, Bushy and those guys from the West Coast. They were the A Fuel guys, and they couldn't, you know, they were struggling, you know, and blown cars were just killing them, and then things have evolved, you know, and those alcohol cars have been picked to death on performance, and they're just now raking the surface on this deal, I think, and you know, of NHRA trying to keep it.
They got a hell
Even,
of
you know,
NHRA's got
keep the
a
parity
terrible
there,
job.
huh?
Terrible job.
Well,
trying to
that's
keep
a hard
it.
deal, you know, but they opened this up, but this funny car deal is going to be just like the dragster.
Yeah,
was
same
for
deal.
years.
Same.
You know, an example down there of the 8 qualified cars in dragster, 7 of them were A Fuel cars.
Yeah,
You know, so the blown cars are
Yep, yep, yep.
in jeopardy. Now
It's a tough deal.
and they did announce today that the Tucson race or whatever they just had the week before out there, that it was almost reverse of that with blown cars. You know, and they made a good point.
Well, then you got people
in worse air and this, that, and other. You know.
And you get people like Joey Severance goes out there and hauls ass with a blown car. You know. Or
They did. And some are, you know, like Annie Whiteley. I mean, she wasn't too far off of them. I mean, but still.
But they're still, they haven't. They just started.
Mick Still's been out for a couple of years, but Bartone.
Yeah.
And
the main guy.
What's that Boggs guy's name? I mean, I wish I knew all the stuff he's forgotten. You know, I mean, he's smarter than a circus dog. I'll tell you. He makes whatever he. You know,
Well,
that's a tough
you
team.
know, our CED was an A fuel car. Remember that?
Yeah.
Bill Howard.
Bill Howard. Yeah.
Bill Howard, we bought it from Bill Howard, a running A fuel car with a 26 in it. It was a 26 car with a 2-speed and, you know, all the latest bells and whistles. And we took all that out and sold it to Davy Settles. There's a name. How about Davy Settles? Davy Settles showed up and gave us $2,000 for everything, can, transmission, rear end, everything. He bought it off from the deal back. I never forget. Davy mouth was watering. $2,000.
Yeah. Well,
but we need to get rid of it, and it made a good CED.
Yeah, I did well with it. Did well. You know.
Yeah, it's I don't know. What else you got? Give me something else, Jones.
I mean,
Match racing days.
I'm sorry?
The match racing days. Promoters. You always hear about these promoters, you know, skipping town and not paying out money and things like that. Any promoters that, other than Chris, that you're like, no, you don't want to work with and don't want to deal with?
Besides Chris?
Right.
So we leave Chris out? We can't say nothing then. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, we never, I remember when we had that All-American deal, we went, I was kind of, I wasn't the president, but the president had quit running a car. And I was like secretary treasurer. Either Ralph Poucher or Andy Keating, one of them was, and they weren't going anymore. So I'd kind of somewhat taken that over, and we went to Eunice, Louisiana.
Oh, there's a good one.
Yeah, I went to an old horse race track. And we went in and we had a race down there, and I remember we didn't have enough cars, or we barely had, because our deal was we promised them 8 cars and a backup car suited up in case something happened to somebody, a backup car suited up on first round that could run. And anyway, we didn't have enough cars, or somebody broke, or whatever the case was. And I remember having to go up there and deal with those guys. And I understand their point, but I mean, what they were wanting to pay us was not even going to pay the cars that were there, much less what the purse would have been.
They were looking to really cut you.
They were looking, and I've said this forever, having been through some of those kind of deals, is if you go out there and if they've got a crowd, it doesn't make any difference if you run good or not.
Yeah.
If they've got a crowd.
That's right.
If they don't have a crowd, I don't care how good you run.
Yeah.
they're gonna find. I mean, not all of them, but some of them. They're gonna find fault in what you did, you know, because they know they're not making any money. They're gonna have to pay money, and that's just, I think, the nature of the beast, and a generalized statement of it. But I think that is true.
Well,
you know,
I did a deal with back when I got through racing in like 82, 83, I went to work for Bill Helsher at Green Valley. And of course, he said I'm the track manager, which I wasn't. You know, I was just a flunky. And we ran one of his, where he ran the points meet and always had the fuel cars in, Bill and Bernstein and everybody used to come do the deal. Well, the first one that I was involved in, Bill had the little trailer house set up over there at the gate where he counted money, and there's
Yeah.
always had
Yeah.
$100 bills stacked up. And anyway, so he calls me on the radio and says, "Get over here," and I go over to him, and he goes, there was 2 cars left. Tom Hoover and Johnny West were the 2 cars left in. And he says, "Go over and tell Johnny West that we're not going to run the finals, we're just going to split the money." I said, "Okay, sounds good to me." I didn't know any difference. I get on my little scooter and wheel over to Johnny West, and I go, "Well, Bill's decided we're just going to split the money and not run the finals." "Well, this car's down to the block, you know. He's putting pistons in, and he says, "Who are you?" I told him what. He says, "You go tell that goddamn Bill Helsher we're going to fucking run, and we're running for the money that he put up, not money that he wants to pay. You go tell his ass." I go, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah.
So I get on my scooter and I go back and I park my deal and I get out and I open the door to the little trailer, and Helsher's in there laughing his ass off. He said, What'd Johnny say?" I said, "You son of a bitch, you knew what was going on." He goes, "We go through this every year." I go, "You're not going to do it with me anymore. I've learned. I'm not doing that no more." Johnny West is going to whip my ass over, I guess $1,000 or something. I don't know how much the difference was.
Yeah.
It was significant to him. And Johnny still remembers it. Every time I see Johnny, he goes, "Remember that time at Green Valley?" I go, "No, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, man."
Well, good. I got some Bakersfield ammunition in this weekend. I can.
Yeah.
Bubba.
Ask Johnny if he
Ask Johnny
remembers at
about-
Green
yeah,
Valley when
yeah.
we were going to cut it. He probably won't remember my name, but he'll know everything else.
Yeah,
He was not happy. Let me tell you, he was not happy.
Yeah.
But, I did the deal, Helsher's deal. Let me tell you, when you work for Bill Helsher, you do everything. There is nothing that you don't do. I'm pretty sure that neither one of you have ever dipped porta cans out. I've done that with Bill Helsher, dipped the porta cans. And he paid me well, and paid me a lot of money to do that, but I dipped out like 100 porta johns,
Yeah.
But Bill was right. I mean, it wasn't just me. Bill was dipping with me. We were right there together. Bill Helsher would never tell you to go do something that he didn't do himself.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from Bill. Bill was a good guy. He was so far ahead of what's going on now. He knew. Y'all ran all those deals he put on at the air bases. Remember all those air base deals?
and
Bill was
cars.
behind all that deal.
Yeah.
Made y'all some good races, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
But I worked for Bill Helsher, then I worked for Billy Meyer for like 4 years. I worked for the Angel Brothers and the Gays for a while, not very long, 2 years. I worked for Texas Raceway for 7 or 8 years. I'm kind of old. I need to get out of this shit. I'm too old for this shit,
Well,
You hear me? Cindy McMillan, I'm done. But I have worked for I worked, I worked for Rear Morrison for 3 years, building motors, and I worked for Raymond Beetle for 2 years. And I learned more about transportation when I worked for Raymond Beetle. That's a slick way, we did some transporting way back whenever.
well, you drugged me into all this crap.
Yeah.
And then
What
you
do
went,
know?
and then you got on the other side of the fence and getting paid, and here I am still over here.
I was the smart one. I was the smart one of the bunch.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I said, I'm over here working my ass off, making 2 or 3 runs and getting $2,000 or $3,000 at the max, and I can go over here and sit behind them and get the same money and not have to do nothing.
Yeah.
I used to book him. We used to do the Bill Helsher race, which was the
Birthday race.
birthday race after he died and all that. And it was a big deal, big race at Kennedale. And I used to call. Cindy would give me a budget. She'd say, "You got $40,000. That's the number I remember for one race." Said, "You got $40,000. Get whatever you can." Well, I'd call him, get him immediately, because I could Jew him down to nothing.
And he did.
And what was funny, I'd call everybody, and I'd get like the Dr. Pepper car, and I'd get Kevin Kinsley and John Hale, and all that group. And then my last call would be to Gene Snow. And I'd call Gene Snow. I said, "Well, the Helsher race is coming." "Yeah, I know. I've been watching." It's the first thing he'd say. He said, "Who's the highest paid car?" I go, "Well, I'm not going to tell you that." He said, "Well, I want $100 more than the highest paid car."
Yeah.
And I'd lie to him something. I said, "Well, Jones is the highest paid car at $1,500. You're lying. You're lying sack of shit. You're not paying Jones $1,500. You know, something like that. But he was the hardest one. I used to deal with him. And then when it was all over, you'd go and give him a check, and he may not even cash it for never. You never even, I mean, it wasn't like money. He just wanted to be the most expensive car there, and stuff. And we dealt with all those guys. I had more fun. Kennedale was more fun than any racetrack I'd ever ran. Although Texas Motorplex was a lot of fun, I was there for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, being top dog,
We were at Kennedale, and Snow was there with his car. And
Who else there used to book? Tried you and Gene and Stidham? Did I do Stidham?
yeah, they came.
Yeah.
Well, Palmer came down.
Yeah, I did Palmer one
Palmer
time.
came down. And,
I did Frankie and Galen and all that group too.
yeah, the pro mod guy.
Yeah.
But
But that was only like $40,000. That's you could book a pretty good show
yeah,
for 40 grand.
I didn't get very much of that. I can tell you.
You son of a bitch, you got plenty.
Yeah.
How many tickets did I give you on the side?
Well,
There was a box full.
I
I got Jones because I said, "How many tickets you want before we start this?" Yeah.
but,
Snow didn't bicker on tickets. Snow was like money up front.
yeah.
In the deal.
Snow, I mean, he's well known for being
A tight wall.
tight as could be. And we were out there, and he had that property over there on 121 that he had for years, where he ran his race car operation out of, and I know Hoover used to come in there and leave his stuff and stay for a long time.
Had a bunch
They
of
were pretty
deals
good.
there, a bunch of storage buildings.
And he ended up selling that. This is kind of after the oil and gas deal in the area started to be some takeoff.
This was after his first billion.
Yeah. And he sold that property. And I said, "Jan, I heard you sold your shop and all that." He said, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell he was kind of down about it. I said, "Well, what's the deal?" He said, "Well," said, "these guys came in, wanted to buy it. Said, I threw a number out there, Adam, and said, the first thing they said was, 'We'll take it.'" He said, "You don't know how bad, being an old car dealer, you don't know how bad that hurt me, that there was no dickering over the price or anything else." I said,
He knows he left money on the table.
yeah, he said, he knew that he priced it too cheap. He said, we'll take it. And I laughed.
He called me one time when I was at Kennedale, and he says, "Don't you drag that track with tires, top fuel tires?" I go, "Yeah, sure do." He said, I got a deal full of tires over here. Come get them. I'll give them to you." I thought, 100 tires. I don't know what's there. I go over there, and you can't believe him. This guy never threw anything away.
Nah, he did.
He's got every crankshaft he ever ran, every head he ever ran, every blower. He's got everything. Everything. He's never thrown anything away. He had a whole storage building full of tires. It took me like 3 trips with a big flatbed trailer to get. There was M&H tires that had never been run. That I hadn't seen M&H top fuel tires in
Forever. Yeah.
30 years, and he had some that had never been run. I mean, it was incredible. This guy, he never threw anything away.
We were.
I bought a car from him. Jimmy was with me.
Yeah, graduation present.
Yeah,
With him.
I did. I was
66
hunting
Chevelle.
Chevelle, and there was not a, you couldn't buy a 396 Chevelle from a Chevrolet dealership in Texas. There wasn't any. They couldn't get them. And I go up and on Henderson what, Interstate 30, whatever that is right there.
Just up the street from
Yeah.
Interstate 30.
And he had 3 of them. He had a red one, a black one, and a blue one sitting on the front, brand new. Still had the stickers on them and everything. I bought the blue one from him.
Yeah,
And
nice car.
it was for a while.
It was to you till they got the keys. It went downhill from there.
It was fast.
It was fast.
It was fast.
I tell you,
Too damn fast.
the story of my buddy Kevin Kinsley, when he first got a alcohol funny car. He'd been in both anyway. He got an alcohol funny car, and I went with him to Noble when he was getting his license and whatnot, and did all that. But anyway, he ended up running this car some, and so I guess one of the first national events he went to was at Ennis with it, and so we're doing qualifying, and during qualifying, he gets Tony Bartone qualifying. Well, I knew, and I mean, I saw who he was going to run, and I knew, and he would do pretty much the same thing all the time, but it's going to be a while, you know, it's going to be a while.
It takes a while.
Uh,
It takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while, and he did. Kevin's got it all revved up and everything else, and Tony's doing his normal deal over there, and it seems like a week or two, you know, whenever you got the motor up and all that, and they run, and Kevin comes over there and said, God, that Bartone, he hung me out, and blah, blah, blah. I said, oh yeah, Kevin, I forgot to tell you, don't go in too early if you're running Tony.
Yeah.
He said, you SOB, you knew that. You didn't tell me, and you knew that was going to happen. I was like, well, maybe I might have had some idea.
'Cause in the back of my mind, I've got an idea.
Yeah. Maybe I should have mentioned that to you, you know. Oh, he was
That's
hot.
funny.
He was so hot.
Kevin's a piece of work.
Oh, he is. I mean,
They raced with us in Funny Car Chaos for a while. He's kind of on and off now, but he was a regular for a while.
Yeah.
And we were at Lufkin. And I've always got along great with Kevin. Kevin and I have always, you know, anything I said, if I wanted to put him in another lane, everything's fine, everything's cool. Well, I don't remember the whole particulars, but I do remember we were in staging lanes and we were pulling up, and Kevin's trying to change lanes. And I go back there, I said, you can't change lanes. You're you're like 2 cars out. You can't, well, they just all that line down. I said, I'm sorry, you can't change lanes, Kevin. You gotta go over here. And so it gets up there, and the other lane oiled down then. And Kevin had gone, how did it, I think he'd gone to Chris, and Chris had let him change lanes. And so now he's in the other lane, and he's wanting to change, and I said, there is no fucking way you're going to change. He got pissed at me big time.
Yeah.
I said, you've already changed once, you went over my head, this is it,
Yeah.
no more.
No more.
And then I remember Chris came to me and said, boy, you were serious. I said, well, you know, I'd already worked with him a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I went over and talked to him later, and I apologized because, you know, I'd kind of got a little hostile with some of his crew guys that were gonna they were gonna put it in the lane no matter what. And I said, not at this racetrack, you're not.
You stay in control, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to get along with.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you've been doing this for a while. What is the strangest thing you've seen at a racetrack? It doesn't have to be on the track. It might just be at the track. What is the strangest thing?
This would be good.
Oh gosh, let me think about it. I don't know. That's
a loaded question.
I wasn't there. I can tell you one of the strangest incidents that, in my way of thinking, that ever happened, as tragic as it was. a good friend of mine, Cody Draper, was on the crew, and Keith Zimmer, he was on the crew with Shelley Howard's car.
Okay.
And they were testing
Boy, that was weird.
at Tulsa a new car. I think Tom Conway was crew
It
chief
was a
on that
Conway,
thing.
yeah, it was a Conway deal, yeah.
Yeah. And then they had I think it was a pretty new car, and they go up there and make a run, and this car goes out there, I don't know how far, 400 or 500 feet, and does a big wheel stand and does a blowover on it. And said it goes all the way to the finish line. The momentum of it took it all the way to the finish line. And said, of course, there's a lot of smoke, and said, me and Doc, who her husband, times we started running toward the accident.
Yeah.
And said, then all of a sudden, out of the smoke, you see these hitter flames, and this car is coming back down the track. And said, it's not just barely coming,
It's coming.
it's bowed up. I mean, it is barely coming, and speculation is that she was knocked completely unconscious in the blowover, and people in the stands that could see better said that thing was up on its side, and just at the last second it tipped back over on the wheels, and off it came. And she had a son that was in the station wagon on the starting line. Her son was in that, and he was a special needs young man, and I don't know how old he was, in his 20s or whatever. He was in the station wagon there, and Cody said, that car kind of said, I yelled at Doc, I said it's coming back, get back over the wall. And I said, we got back over the wall, and that car came straight back down the track and hit that station wagon, and said, when I raised up to look at it, said, things were happening so fast, I couldn't figure out what had happened. I mean, whatever, but it hit that station wagon, and it killed Shelley and killed her son. And you know, I'm just thinking of the strangest thing. What are the odds
Yeah.
somebody is probably knocked out of this thing being able to flop back on its tire
And come back.
and come back from the finish line and not run into the wall or go a different direction when it flopped over or whatever. I mean, that's
I didn't know you were there.
no, I say I wasn't there.
I thought you were.
But Cody,
Cody was there.
yeah, Cody was on the crew. He and Keith Summer, they were both on the crew at that time, and that just was a tragic thing. And
Yep.
and I mean, to me, it's just off the chart of what the odds are of that being able to happen like that, and to come back that far, and the sad ending it had, you know. So,
Yeah, it was sad.
yeah, extremely. But as far as what I've actually seen, you know, I don't know. I can't. I've seen some pretty weird stuff, I'm sure, and I was probably involved in a lot of it, but I can't. Nothing immediately.
You seen Pro Mod Bob hit the wall twice.
Oh yeah, I thought that was yeah. We were having.
Nearly in the same place.
Yeah. He's a good guy, and
He is still a good guy.
yeah.
And he finally got where he's a pretty good driver.
Yeah, he was.
After you got it all worked out and running for him.
Yeah, but I mean, the first race we went to with him was at Kennedale. We got in this car together, a pro mod guy and so he moved his car into our shop, and we were maintaining it and going to the races with him. So we go to Kennedale. It was on a Friday night. And it was an early race, early in the year. Track was a little bit iffy and whatnot. I said, Bob, if this thing gets out there and bobbles or does anything, you
Shut it off.
you get out, let off of it.
Yeah.
Well, part of that didn't carry over, I guess, and he got out there and he was in the left lane. He got it up on the center line and drove it, you know, further than he should have, and smacked the wall pretty hard down there, you know. Tore it all up, and I thought, boy, this is a short-lived job, you know.
But he built it. He went. He came right
He didn't
back.
quit though. I mean, he came back and
Came back twice.
yeah, fixed it again, and went. You know, but that was a sick feeling. That boy, I really helped this guy out. Didn't I? You know?
Tuned him right up.
Yeah. Sad deal.
You know, I'm online with Ed Quay. I think you're with Ed.
Yeah.
I've known Ed. I met Ed back in the late '70s, early '80s when we had our dragster. He came and looked at our dragster because he was going to start building dragsters, and
Yeah.
he's a Don Ness fan. He said that 2 or 3 times about
Yeah.
online. And smart guy. I mean, this guy's really.
His vocabulary is so far above me,
Oh,
just
mine
in
too.
the articles he writes.
But aren't they good?
Oh, they're very good.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
his
And
perspective.
he's like 85 years old. man.
83. I think he's getting ready to be 84. is what
Yeah,
I've
just
heard.
incredible. And
Yeah, he's a
But
smart cookie.
I remember he came by and looked at our little dragster at Columbus, well, first race out with it, and looked it all over. And he told Bobby and I, says, that's a nice piece. He said, I don't know who did. We told him it was Don Ness. He goes, well, I'm telling you, said that's a first class piece right
Yeah,
there.
and he'd worked for S&W.
Yeah, he built Jenkins Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the first one in S&W shop.
Yeah,
I've read
and, but he's a big Don Ness fan. He likes to look at Don Ness stuff.
Yeah,
He left us early. What a good guy, you know.
yeah.
I know you never had any run with him,
No.
but I mean, we did lots of stuff with Don with the pro stock, and we're in Marston's pro stocker, and
No, he was a top of the heap name in those days, you know.
pro stock wouldn't be what it is now without what Don Ness did to
Yeah.
get it where it is. You know, I mean, he did the 4 links and all that crap.
Speaking of pro stock, I've seen the footage of you doing the spins. Where is that? Why did it happen? You know, what was going on with you inside the driver's compartment of
That's
a
a
pro
lot of
stocker?
fucking questions. It was in Englishtown, New Jersey, at the Summer Nationals, and it was first round, and I was running Donnie Coots in the Coots and can't remember the guy that owned the car, Coots and somebody. It was a Pontiac Firebird just like mine, and it ran down through there. It was really a strange run. It went down through there, ran real good, and I get down there, and at Englishtown, the guardrails used to not be on the side of the track. There was grass, and the guardrails were way out there. And then when you went through the finish line, the guardrails went out, and there was no guardrails. They went away, and it was just pasture land, which is probably not a bad deal, really and truly. But anyway, I go down through there, and the things I remember is when we get there, Donnie beat me. He was ahead of me, and it was like a half a car length. And I pulled a parachute, and I pull a parachute, and I look over, and I see, and Donnie's right there beside me, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. And all of a sudden, the car just turns around. I turn around completely. I mean, it just goes, and I'm going backwards. But I'm out in the grass. I've moved over out in the grass, and I'm going backwards. And I remember looking this way, and Donnie's right there still looking at me. And I'm looking at him. We're right side by side still, but I'm out in the grass now. And to this day, I don't know for sure what happened. It spun 2 or 3 times. It came to a rest. It went over the return road was right there, and it kind of bounced over the return road. I stopped. And I sat in it for a second or 2, or a minute, or 10 minutes, or an hour. I don't know how long. But I sat in it until I got my voice back. And I get out, and Bob Glidden comes idling up. That's back when we used to drive the Pro Stockers back to the pit area. And Bob Glidden comes by and stops. And leans over the top, he gets out of his car and leans over the top and says, "Bubba, are you okay?" And I go, "Fuck, I don't know. I think I am. I'm not bleeding or anything, you know." He goes, "Okay, if you need anything, let me know." And he cranks up and goes on by. I don't know what happened. I think there was rice hull on the track, but I don't know that. And I let off the car and I didn't get on the clutch real quick. I usually always just shut it off and clutch it real quick, and I think I was late on the clutch and it locked the rear wheels up and off we went. I mean, I didn't hit anything and we ran the next day. I mean, it was quite a ride. And I get back, I drive it back to the pit area, and when you run Englishtown, one of the perks used to be when you run Englishtown, if you qualified in Englishtown, you got to run the Maryland International Raceway Pro Stock Monday night show after Englishtown. And so we were in Englishtown, so we were in the Maryland deal. So we towed down to Maryland, and I'll never forget, we go over everything. We finally found out that the springs, the rear springs were too short. So we put new rear springs on it and did a bunch of stuff. But man, let me tell you something. My ass was like that. I made a pass single at Maryland. I said, first run, you gotta let me up there, let me make a run. Yeah. Or I'm not gonna run your race if you don't. So I got to make a pass, and we made a lap and pulled a chute, and boy, I'm telling you, my pucker power, I was ready for anything, and it stopped and everything was fine. So I guess it was, I don't know. I just know it happened so friggin' quick that I look back on it, and Winston was still in drag racing back then, and they had a suite, and they always brought the wives up in the suites, and Letha was in the Winston suite. In Englishtown, it's kind of like a lot of tracks. You kind of go over a little bit, and you can't really see after the finish line. And she's in the suite with the Winston people bullshitting, and said, they look and go, "What's all that dust from? I can't see the car or anything." "Well, it's me out there, spinning around." And Letha says, "You scared the shit out of me." I go, "Well, you should have been in the car." But it should have destroyed the car. I was lucky. It should have hit something. If it had guardrails like they are now, it would have been destroyed. Yeah. Because there was nothing there, and it went over. One thing I do remember, then we'll get off this subject. Things you remember and things that happened at the time. I'm in the grass and I'm doing these circles, and we go over the return road. And it goes boom, 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 bang, and it's making noise, and I don't know, 20 car lengths down there is Ken Veeney with the Veeney Vet, the fuel funny car.
Yeah, we went to fuel.
And all the guys are there, and they're at the scales. And I'm doing all these circles, and all I can remember was like all of Veeney's guys, they were like quail. They were going, poof, they were gone. They thought, anytime I'm coming after them, I'm laughing. I stopped and I kind of laughed. I go, where all them guys went? But if you'll ask Ken Veeney, he'll probably tell you, or Todd Veeney knows all about it. Todd and I are online, and we've talked about it a couple of times, and it is funny because they had nowhere to go. There was nothing. They were out in the open, and here comes this crazy idiot and this Firebird at 150 miles an hour. Anyway, that's my story, and that's my Ken Veeney story.
Jimmy, what's your wildest ride? Is it that one earlier, or have you had an incident in Altered?
A couple of things happened. We were at North Star running the Altered, and it was the last race of the year. We were racing Terry Bryan,
Yep.
and it was for the championship. Whoever won that round
was the champion.
Was going to have to win the championship. Well, I mean, we don't have radios or anything in our operation, and unbeknown to me, they had a mechanical issue not too far off the line. But I didn't know that, and I'm going down through there, and I'm in the right-hand lane, and all of a sudden, this car is going all over the lane. Well, what I didn't know is that our rig was parked about at the finish line, and I mentioned Cody Draper earlier. He was down there, and about the time we started the stage, it started raining. On that, not on our end of the track, on that end of the track.
Okay.
So
It's done that at Kennedale before. Same way.
yeah, so we get down there, and it's just got just enough moisture on this thing, and it goes for the center line, and then I'm doing all I can to keep it from crossing the center line, and then it goes back the other way, and I'm doing all I can to keep it from hitting the wall, and finally, about from here to the wall right there, past the finish line, and fortunately I had funny car headers on it at that time. I collect the wall, or
but the headers
with the curb fillers, you know, and get down. But I didn't know if I was across the finish line or not. And
but you won.
Bobby and those guys came down and looked it over, and because had it crossed
like
before,
like that wreck Bobby had up there. Remember that onboard camera, that thing running out through the fields, and
oh yeah, I got over there. We had just run right before that, and we got out there to him, and he was out cold.
Cold, yeah.
Scared the heck out of me.
I forgot about you, and I forgot about you having that deal, and I forgot about Bobby Marriott running out. He nearly ran to the go-kart track, didn't he? Did he?
Well, but he went off out to the right, in that field out there. He went out there pretty far too.
He went a long ways.
They went a long ways out through there, and of course,
what knocked him
there's
out?
some
When
ditch.
he hit something?
I think probably going across somewhat of a ditch there, and it was rough out there and beat him around.
It was horrible. He was out cold, man.
Yeah, it was a scary deal, and but
we have lots of good racers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, and I've been lucky enough to be around and to call a lot of them my friends.
Yeah.
Nothing, not trying to do anything different, but to have Chris come to me as old as I am and want me to help with a new series was really neat. It made my day. I mean, I actually called him, but that's another story. I forgot about that one. I called him. I went to North Star for the second race, I think, or maybe the first race, and it was no organization. I mean, it was fucking horrible. And I'm out there going, this was a pretty neat deal, but God, he needs. I kept asking who runs. Well, Chris Graves. I said, well, I know Chris. And so
what do you want?
next week I called him and I said, Chris, this is Bubba Corzine. Yeah, what do you want? I go, well, you got a pretty good series, but it looks like you need a little help. Well, yeah, kinda. I said, well, figure out what you can pay me and let me know something, and if you want to work, I'll help you do something. And Tara told me this. Chris didn't tell me this. Chris hangs the phone up, and Tara's standing there, and she goes, who was that? And he goes, that was Bubba fucking Corzine wanting to go to work for us.
Yeah.
So I remind him now, I say, I'm Bubba fucking Corzine. But, I've been very lucky. Very lucky. You have too.
I have been fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his cat.
Camera hog.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
The first time that I ever, he probably won't want to be telling this story, but
Who? Me?
no,
Oh.
that I met Scott Palmer.
Oh, shit.
We had a match race in Abilene. This was before Abilene had a track, but they had the airport there, and they had a deal worked out, whoever was putting it on out there, where you could run a race there. And
Was that part of Bill Helsher's deal, or was?
no, I don't know who was doing that thing, but you could, go see your mama. Like, you could, so they have this match race. It's an 8-car deal, and Scott was there. I never met him before. I knew who he was, you know.
But he wasn't famous.
But he had not near the fame he is today yet. And but anyway, Jackie Stidham, the Stidham brothers, they had sold him a motor, and it was a good-looking car. I mean, he used to do paint and body work, and he's pretty good with all the graphics and stuff, and it was a really pretty car. I remember seeing it when we pulled in out there. Anyway, Stidham and I said, well, you know, if you need any help or whatever, because Stidham and them were supposed to be at that race. For some reason they couldn't come, so they called Scott to come. So he was filling in for Stidham and them. And I mean, I run him once in a qualifying run. He came over and said, well, I just want to tell you, he said, now, I've run this car before.
Hey!
I've run this car before at Rogersville up there, my home track, by myself, but I've never lined up beside anybody. And he said, you got a problem with that? I said, no, as long as you stay on your side and I'll stay on mine, everything's good. So we run and qualify. Well, then after every run,
Hi, sweetheart.
he would bring over his spark plugs and, well, what do you think? And it was really safe, you know. And it's fine. But I mean, he was doing well, and so it came down to the end, and he was in the final, and we were in the final. And so he comes over after the semis, and well, and we needed the money because we had bought a clutch machine from Jerry Wilson. And he says, well, he brought his spark plug over. Well, what do you think? I said,
lean that baby out.
I said, I think school's out. That's exactly what I said. I think school's out.
We need our clutch machine. We need our clutch machine working here.
Yeah, we need to win this round. We need the money.
That's hilarious. I've never heard that. That's great. That's hilarious.
So we get up there and run, and and I'd already told my guys after the first qualifying run, they went down this taxiway, and then it made a sweeping curve out to the main runway. And we ran down through there, and I told them, I said, if anything happens down here, it's going to be hard to make this curve. Well, we go run Scott, and sure enough, the car's kind of loose down there, and I'm trying to round it up or whatever and go across the finish line. I'm late getting the shootout. I'm in, like I say, I'm in the right-hand lane, and it curves left. And I'm turning this thing as hard as I can to get it, but I could tell I'm losing pavement. I'm losing pavement.
You're running out of room.
And finally, it's not going to make it. So I just turned the wheel back straight and went out across there.
Where was Palmer?
He was in the left-hand lane.
Yeah.
And we won the race, got there first, but he's seeing all this happen, and we run out across this field, and we must have gone a couple hundred yards out across this, and it's grass is flying around, and this thing's bouncing around. It sounds like it's tearing it to pieces, and it was a new car. We'd run one race at a division race at Noble. And then the next race we had coming up was the national event at Ennis, and so it was a new car. In fact, the following week after Ennis, we won best appearing car in Houston at their national event. And so,
you did?
Yeah.
Did I vote for that?
Huh?
Was I down there? Did I vote for
I
that?
don't know. You better
I
have.
probably did.
I don't know who votes on that. So anyway.
I never figured it out.
I get it stopped out there, and Scott, he gets stopped, and he runs out there, and he runs up the car.
You okay? First thing to ask.
Oh yeah, are you okay? And I say to him, I said, Scott, did I tear this car up? And he walked on around, looked. I said, because if I did, I'm okay now, but when those guys in that truck get down there,
You're not gonna.
I'm not going to be okay.
I need your help.
They're going to kill me. And he made a round around it and said, no, it's okay. And so we hook onto it and pull it out of there. And
I did the same thing.
And on the way out of there, I mean, it probably wasn't 10 or 15 feet across there that I had gone by. And they have these markers out there. It's like a picket fence they lay down that you can see from the air. And it went right by one of those. And I thought later, if it would have hung that and wrapped it down the side, it would have destroyed that whole thing.
When I turned that,
I mean, I don't think it was going to do anything to me, but those guys were going to do something to me.
when I turned that Pontiac around at Englishtown, you cannot believe the amount of grass and weeds and everything. I mean, the car was full of shit. You know, just, I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was also the race. Another little side note. It was kind of funny.
Thank you, dear.
They didn't have templates. They didn't have templates for Pro Stock cars back then. Back then, you know, Don Ness, it was a steel roof, steel quarter panels, and everything else fiberglass. And he could cut it and bend it and move it and whatever, you know, that he thought he could do. And we get to Englishtown before the wreck. It was like race day, but it was before the wreck, or before I spun it out. And we're sitting in the pit, and I got the car up on jack stands, and we're ready to warm up. And Lindy Vinsel and a couple other guys come over and said, "We want to measure your car." I go, "Well, no, you can't do that. Sorry." He goes, "Yes, we can." I go, "Well, hang on a minute. Let me go get Don Ness. You can do all you want to measure, but Don Ness needs to be here." Don was there, so I went and found Don. He comes over, and they said, "Well, we're gonna make templates off this car." Don says, "You really are?" He goes, "Yeah." I see Don thinking. I see him. He's looking around thinking. He goes, "Okay, Bill, okay, go ahead."
Yeah. This needs
And
to
so-
be the utility.
and so they get all the measurements made, and they leave, and I go, "What's on your mind there, Don?" He goes, "Well, the way I look at it, we got the only legal Pontiac Pro Stock in the world. None of the others are going. These things are not going to fit another Pontiac no man."
I gotta have a timeout.
Cool.
Well, he's going to make us famous.
He's gonna have some editing.
Yeah. No, that's Chris
You
Ashley.
got to edit all the fuck
that in.
No, that's Chris Ashley.
Put that in there, rich and famous.
I didn't say rich. I said famous.
So
I did.
hopefully it does make us all rich famous. That'd be great. Couple more. I know that Chris. I want to hit on. So you got these media people, yahoos like me, and I don't know who all you've interacted with, but I know you've interacted with Brett Kepner.
A lot.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes. So
No, fortunately. Brett's a good guy.
we see White Pant Brett and out there doing his thing and it's exceptional. What are some things people don't know about Brett that only Bubba would
Only
know?
Bubba knows about Brett. What a question. Holy shit. Let me think just a minute. God, I just talked to him 2 days ago. Brett and I, when I worked for CompuLink and did all the timing for NHRA, Brett was the guy in the shutdown area that interviewed everybody. And I used to have to, he wanted me, I always had to give him the numbers, you know, like the reaction time, 60 foot, brief, I mean, I had to go through the whole deal where he could interview the guy, right? He used to get so mad at me because I'd try to tell him and I'd get the wrong side or I'd get the wrong car. And he always said, "You gave me the wrong fucking numbers." I go, "It wasn't on purpose, you know." I mean, but Brett, something really good with Brett. We were standing on the finish line at Motorplex. As a matter of fact, this picture came up yesterday online. We were on the finish line when Eddie Hill ran the first 4. I'm standing down there, Brett's standing beside me, they go by, the 4 comes up, Brett hauls ass, gone to the the shutdown area. And I'm standing there, and I jump over the wall. I'm doing like this, and Don Gillespie takes a picture of me with the 499 up and the Super Shops deal.
He loves it. Speaking of series wise, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but just Chris Graves, Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos, Fuel Altered Chaos, all the chaos just keeps getting more chaotic. What do you think about it in the grand scheme of drag racing?
And well, I am probably like, if Chris tells the truth, and he may well tell the truth, this thing is way bigger than I think anybody ever dreamed.
Him especially.
Huh?
Him especially.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I went to the first race they had in Denton, you know, and it was neat. I mean, you know, and I said to myself, you know, I thought I knew every funny car around just about. And there were cars there that I thought, where in the heck did these cars come from? I have never seen this car.
I'm the same way right now.
Yeah.
We go to a race and there's always 2 or 3 cars. You go, where in the hell does that car come from?
Yeah, I mean, they come out of the woodwork, but, you know, I mean, not on a large scale, but I played and nothing wrong with that, but I played the NHRA game for a long time. And, I've said this numerous times. I mean, the slickest thing that I think he has done in the overall picture, I mean, he's done a great job with the whole thing, but the A, B, C, and D fields. And that gives whoever comes.
I can't believe somebody hadn't picked up on that and done another series with that.
You know,
I can't understand that.
You know, and at the end of the day, if you're going to have a series of any kind, the first thing you need is car count.
That's right.
You've got to have car count, and by doing it that way, a lot of cars come that would never even come if it was a 32 car qualified deal or whatever. You get a lot of people, so you're going to be at a field that you're somewhat competitive in.
Being around Chris,
that's a great deal.
At the time all this was happening, I think it was accidental. I don't think he had any intention of doing like an A, B, C, D field. He just said, well, we got an A field and we've got enough cars to do a B field. Let's do a B field. I don't think he ever, in his mind, ever thought, well, this will turn into an A, B, C, and D field. I really don't think so. It did, but I don't think when it started, he had any idea it was going to do anything. And it's the greatest thing going, man.
I commend you. I think it's finest thing since sliced bread. You know, I mean, it's good.
Sliced bread.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know, our coaches told us to eat lettuce in the summer, not bread. Remember that? eat lettuce.
I can remember.
Don't eat bread.
All I can remember is eating tuna fish with mayonnaise on it so much you couldn't. There was nothing there but mayonnaise and tuna fish.
Yeah. White tuna.
We're talking about our old high school days.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jones. He was. Let me think a minute. Let me get the dates right. You were probably junior or senior in high school when you talked your dad into buying that 63 Ford Galaxy 63 and a half 390 4-speed as a family car. I still haven't figured out how you did that.
Well,
I never could.
I haven't either, and I
he had a 390, a 63 and a half 390 Ford. I mean, this thing was.
I'm ashamed of the way I treated the family car.
It was a family car, 4-speed, 390. I mean,
you know, I mean, we'd had. I grew up on a dairy farm about 6 or 7 miles west of here, and you know, we always had pickup trucks, and they were standard shifts and whatnot, you know. So my mother was used to driving that sort of thing. I mean, she'd go to the grocery store and this deal.
And you'd see her going down the street, and she'd take off and put it in high gear.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good coup. You did a good job on that.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it. I gotta tell you, I am not proud. Yeah.
Oh goodness. Well, We've aired all the
I
bad
was
shit.
then. I was then, but I'm not so proud today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a 48 Jeepster, you know.
He did, and we used to go to.
A
We
Ford-
used, we
you
used to
ever
go to
seen a
that
48
first
Jeepster?
we used to go to Forest Hill. And, yeah,
C
you need,
compact.
you need to look up 48 Jeepsters.
C compact.
Convertible.
Yeah, it was a roadster. But it had those windows. See, if it's a convertible, the windows roll up and down. You take
It
the
was
windows.
a 4-cylinder, and it was the loudest car in town.
Yeah.
Straight outside.
48 Jeepster, C compact. Yeah, but mine was white and black. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what we started.
Yeah.
We used to. One of the things I remember, we were riding around at. Back then, when at lunchtime you had 45 minutes and everybody rode around the high school, and it was snowing. I don't remember where Jimmy was with or not, but there was 4 or 5 of us, and we let the top down and rode around in the snow. Were you in that deal with us?
Nope.
Why not? What the hell were you
I know
doing?
how to get in and out of the snow. I remember we had it downtown one time, and they had some construction work doing.
Yeah, we got put in jail, didn't we? Or they tried to.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And
They got us.
Had these cones out, and one or
Or 40 or
reaching
50
out,
or
picking
something.
up these cones, and
Ricky
we
Wright,
had,
wasn't it?
yeah, Ricky, yeah, I think it was Ricky. Anyway, the next thing we know, the cops are stopping us,
Yeah.
telling us that
Going to put us in
if
jail.
there's an accident up there, you know, we're going to prison for life. You know, so that was kind of a scary deal. And then they said we're going to call your parents.
That was worse.
That was.
I'm calling Buddy. When they said they called Buddy, I said, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that downhill time.
Well, guys, look, this has been great. Got a lot. We'll see. You know, I'm sure Chris might want to do more at some point. This is what I need you to do, okay?
What?
So I need you to look in the camera. You're going to look at that one, and you're going to look at that one, okay? You know, just
Okay.
look in the camera or something, you know, okay?
Okay.
And basically what I need you to do is give me your best badass yet funny self-description. So I am Jimmy Jones. I am Bubba Corzine. Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
I am Jimmy Jones. I was too fat to play elementary football in the 6th grade, and I haven't gotten over it yet. But I would still like to try to slide my ass into one of these cars. You know, my big butt, I might say.
I'm Bubba Corzine. I've been doing this drag racing shit for 100 years, and I learn something every day, and I enjoy every minute of it. And I can't do anything like Jimmy Jones said, but I did a lot of bad things in my life, but I never got put in jail for it. So I'm still around.
You still got warrants.
Yeah, there's still warrants out there. I hope they don't see this.